everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn a fun stitch called the Triad Stitch, and I want to show that to you. I think it's actually a really fun looking stitch that has a great little impact here. I'm just going to show you what that looks like here, and you can see it's got 3 points to it, hence the term Triad Stitch. And I think it looks really nice and adds a little texture to whatever you might want to use it for. Pretty versatile stitch. And if you like the look of it, I've got this blanket pattern that will be coming out soon, so stay tuned. This will come out shortly. But I do want to take just a minute and show you how to do that stitch so that you can use that in pretty much anything you want to use it for. So let's take a look at how to do that. For starters, I just have a little foundation row here of double crochets to build my triad stitch onto, but you can put it on anything you want, on top of a single crochet row or you know, on your half double crochet, whatever you'd like. I just like the double crochet to start with. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Now, for starters, I am going to use an alternative turning chain as opposed to a chain 3 to start with. You don't have to do this. You can use a chain 3 for your double crochet if you'd like to, but as anybody who's been on my channel before knows, I highly recommend you use an alternative turning chain for your first double crochet. So to do that, we're going to start with our alternative turning chain, which is, sometimes people call that a stacked single crochet, if you've heard that term before. But I did a single crochet right in that very first stitch, and then to do my stacked or alternative turning chain, I go into the left loop of that single crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through 2. So it's as if you have 2 single crochets on top of each other. That's the alternative to a chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. So from here, you'll want to chain 1, and then we're going to start the triad stitch. We're going to start in that very next stitch, and you're going to insert your hook and draw up a loop and draw up that yarn pretty close to a double crochet height. Not quite, but pretty close. You don't want it down low though, so draw that up. Okay, now you want to yarn over and go into the next stitch and do the same thing. Draw up a loop, and again up to that same height. So now you have 5 loops on your hook. You want to do that one more time. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch and draw up a loop. Now you have 7 loops on your hook. Okay, and they're all pretty tall, as you can see. You're going to want to yarn over and go through 6 of those 7 loops, leaving 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go through 2. There's your triad. You can see 1, 2, 3, and you used 3 stitches for that. Okay? Now you're going to want to chain 1 before you do your next stitch. And the next stitch is going to start in the stitch where you ended. So here's the 3rd prong of that triad stitch, and this stitch here, that's the one we're going to go into. So let's do that again. Yarn over, insert into that stitch you just finished with, yarn over and draw up a loop pretty high, yarn over, go into the 2nd stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. You have 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go into the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. You have 7 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through 6, yarn over and go through 2. Okay, there's your next one. Let's do that again. Chain 1. Now we're going to do the same thing. Remember, go back into the stitch that you just ended it with. So yarn over into this stitch here, drop a loop pretty high, yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop pretty high. See, 5 loops on the hook now. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and draw up a loop. You have 7 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go through 6, yarn over and go through 2. Okay, just want to give you an idea of what that looks like. It's pretty cute. And then chain 1. And you'll keep doing this, right? Yarn over, insert into the last stitch where you ended, drop a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, drop a loop, 5 loops on the hook, okay, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and drop a loop, 7 loops on the hook, yarn over and draw through 6, yarn over and draw through 2, and a chain 1. And I'm just going to do this until the end of this row, just to show you the end of the row. 2, 3, chain 1, yarn over, there's 3 loops, yarn over, there's 5 loops, yarn over, there's 7 loops. And one recommendation here while you're doing all these loops, because there are a lot of loops on the hook here, just keep them straight. Make sure they're not overlapping. Just take that time to try to make sure those are all lined up properly. It will make your stitch look neater, and it's worth your time to see that looking nice and straight and even. So we chained 1 and we're doing the next one. And the more you practice this, the easier it'll become. You kind of get that rhythm down. And we're going to do that one more time. Yarn over, insert. There's 3 loops on the hook. Sorry, I need more yarn. Okay, so there are your 3 loops on the hook. Next stitch, 5 loops on the hook. Next stitch, 7 loops on the hook, go through 6, go through 2, chain 1, you have 1 stitch left here, and you're going to do a double crochet in that last stitch left. And that's how you can have just that on the edge there. Let's just take a look at that. Started with a double crochet, ended with a double crochet. You have your triad stitches that all share that common stitch there, right, with a chain 1 in between. Okay, and then for your next row, what you'd want to do for this is a single crochet row, just so that you have a nice base to do your next row of triad stitches in. So when you do your single crochet row, just make sure that you put a single crochet in every stitch and in every chain 1 space all the way across. So here's a chain 1 space, you want to put your single crochet in there. Here's your next triad stitch right here, and you want to do the single crochet in the top. See that? The top of the triad stitch. Then the chain 1 space. Here's the top of the triad stitch. Chain 1 space, the top of the triad stitch, chain 1 space. All right, make sure you're putting that single crochet in that space that's on top of that triad stitch there. And what I'll do is, if you don't want to use an alternative turning chain, I'm just going to take a minute and show you what this looks like with a chain 3 when we turn here in a second, in case you want to do it that way instead. Again, not my favorite way to do it. I think it leaves gaps, and I think the sides are not as straight that way. But that's up to you if you'd like to do that. Oops. There we go. Okay, so that's with the single crochet all the way across. And now you have a nice base to do your next row of triad stitches. So if you want to do a chain 3 instead, you can do a chain 3 for your double crochet, but then remember we have a chain after we do that first double crochet, right? We had a chain, or excuse me, the double crochet and then a chain stitch before we did the triad. So that means you're going to have 4 chain. before you go on and do your next triad stitch. And that all counts as this first stitch here. So you're going to start your triad stitch in that second stitch. So you'd start your triad stitch here and use the next 3 stitches for your triad stitch. Go through. Oh. Sorry, it got stuck on something there. Come on. We're going to take that out and do that over. And that's always okay. If you need to take it over, take it out and do it over, take it out and do it over. It's always better and neater to just do that. All right, so this stitch is already taken up with this chain. You're going to do there, 2, 3. There's your triad stitch. Oh, much better. Okay, and your chain 1, and you continue on with your triad. Now, if you did it this way, where you did a chain 4 instead of the alternative turning chain, first of all, you can see the difference, right? It's not as strong of a stitch as that alternative turning chain is. But if you wanted to do it that way, the one thing that's important when you're coming back with your single crochet, just remember that first one is a chain 1, so your single crochet is going to be in the top of the 3rd chain. 1, 2, 3. Right here, that's where you'll put your single crochet on the way back, because this additional, remember we did a chain 4, this one is the chain 1 space. So when you're coming back, just remember that. But again, my recommendation is that you use an alternative turning chain. I'll put a link to that in the description box, just in case you want to see a tutorial, a little more in-depth tutorial on the alternative turning chain. I think that would become your best friend. So I hope you like this. It's really a fun stitch. Like I said, nice texture. It's I think really interesting. And if you like the look of that, stay tuned. For soon here, I'm going to have this blanket pattern come out where you can use this as a nice border on a blanket. I think it looks really pretty. So I hope you tune in for that one as well. If you have questions, don't hesitate to put that in the comment box below. As usual, if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, I would appreciate it. It would really help the channel out. And I hope to see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.